I thought the dog park was a safe space. Until my dog started refusing to go near the fence, and someone else's voice came out of the dark. A few summers back, I lived in a mid-sized town with a decent community park. It had basketball courts, a walking loop, and this big fenced-in area where people let their dogs run off leash. It was always a friendly scene, familiar faces, friendly dogs, everyone mostly respectful. I got into the habit of taking my dog there every other evening around 7. He's a medium-sized mutt, the kind that looks like a dozen breeds mixed into one, but smart and alert. He loved it. I'd toss the ball, he'd chase it, and I'd shoot the breeze with a couple other regulars. There was this older guy who always came in right before sundown. Never brought a dog. He'd lean against the fence, watch the dogs, and talk to them through the bars. People joked he was lonely or just missed having a pet. He never talked to the owners, just the dogs. Always wore the same scuffed boots, the soles worn unevenly, so his gait dragged slightly to the right. One night I saw him kneel by the fence and say something to my dog. My dog froze mid-step, ears flat, tail low, like he was waiting for something. Then he ran full speed back to me and wouldn't leave my side. After that, my dog started hesitating when we got near the fence. He'd sniff circle, then back away. The weird thing was, he only did it when the old guy was there. If the guy wasn't around, no problem. I asked a couple of the other regulars if they'd noticed anything strange. One of them said, "Yeah, he talks to them real low. Sometimes they act like they know him." That stuck with me. The way he spoke, it wasn't playful. It was measured, intentional, like he expected them to obey. Then late one night, I was walking my dog past the park, not intending to go in. He stopped cold and started growling, not at someone in the park, but at the trees behind the fence. That's when I heard a voice, soft, slow, coming from the dark. "Not tonight, buddy. You're not ready yet." I pulled my dog and we got the hell out of there. But something about that voice stayed with me, too calm, too familiar, like he'd said it before. The next few times we visited the park, my dog wouldn't leave the corner by the gate, just stood there and stared at the far fence line. The old man had stopped showing up, but something still felt off. One day I decided to walk the perimeter from the outside. There was a thin trail behind the fence line hidden by brush. I followed it. Found old plastic bags, empty dog treat packs, and a worn camping chair facing directly into the park through a hole in the mesh. Like someone had been sitting there for hours. Back at home, my dog started whining at the door at odd hours. Not barking, just whining. I checked my doorbell cam, but it was offline, had been for hours. When it came back, the last footage was a glitchy frame that looked like someone standing just off to the side of the camera. Just standing. I started to feel watched. Not just outside, inside too. I'd walk into the room and my dog would already be staring at a window or a corner, ears perked like he'd heard something I couldn't. And some nights I'd swear I heard movement in the yard, but the cameras showed nothing. I stayed up that night. Around 2 a.m., I heard a scratching sound. Not at the front door, at the back gate to my yard. My dog was pacing silent but visibly tense. I crept over and looked through the slats. Couldn't see anyone. But my dog walked right up to the door, sat and stared, like he was waiting again. Then a low voice came through the fence. Not a whisper, a command. "Down. Stay. Good boy." My dog dropped, flat tail wagging. I yanked the door open, but no one was there. Just damp footprints leading away into the alley. They were the same boots, worn, uneven heel, scuffed rightward. I bought cameras, every angle, set up motion lights. For a week, nothing happened. Then one night I came home late and found my dog outside his crate. The crate was locked. No windows open, He was just out. There was something in his mouth. A slip of paper. It said, "Much better now." He listens. Only needed patience. I checked the footage. Around midnight, all the cameras cut for 11 minutes. When they came back on, everything looked the same except one frame less than a second long showed someone crouched just inside the back fence. The same gait, same boots. We moved 2 weeks later. Different town. Bigger city. But sometimes when we pass a park, my dog stiffens and stares through the trees. And once he whimpered at a fence that looked just like the old one. I swear I heard a voice say, "Real soft, good boy." Now I double-check every latch. I don't assume a closed gate means safe, and I never ignore my dog's reaction to someone, especially when they don't even seem to see me. He never spoke to me. He didn't need to. The dog was enough. I live in a one-bedroom apartment in a busy city, and like everyone else here, I work too much and spend too little time outside. My dog was supposed to fix that. A rescue medium-sized tan coat, smart and calm. I got him from a shelter the same month I quit drinking. He gave me a reason to get out of bed, to walk, to talk to people at the park. But with time, my hours picked up again, and guilt set in. So I signed up for this new app, DogShare. It let verified users schedule walks with your dog during the day. You could track the walks, leave reviews, even see photos. At first, it felt like the perfect solution. He came home tired and happy, tail wagging. The walkers left glowing feedback. And it wasn't until week 3 that I noticed something weird. It was little things. My dog hesitated when I called his name. He flinched when I reached for his leash like he thought I'd grab it differently. He still looked like my dog, acted mostly like him, but something was off. Then I found a tennis ball under the couch, one with a name I didn't recognize written in Sharpie. It wasn't mine. He wasn't even a fetch dog. Another day, he responded instantly to the word Harley, a name I'd never said around him. Tail wag, ears perked. I said it again. Same reaction. I almost gave him back once. It was during a rough stretch, 14-hour shifts, no weekends. I remember sitting on the floor with my keys in hand, Googling shelter reintake policies. But I didn't. I thought showing up late was better than not showing up at all. I contacted DogShare support. They gave me a list of users who had walked him. A dozen names each with profile pics and 5-star reviews. Nothing alarming. So I picked one of the users who walked him often, a guy with a clean-shaven face and sunglasses in every photo, and I waited outside the building for him to arrive. He showed up like clockwork. Took the leash, said the dog's name, my dog's name, and walked off casually. I followed far enough back not to get noticed. But he didn't go to the park. He stopped in a quiet corner of the block and just stood there. He kept saying words not loud, just over and over. It looked like he was training him. I couldn't hear clearly, but I saw the dog lie down, then bark on cue. Once. Then 2 short barks. Like a sequence. Like code. It was a sequence I'd never taught him. I confronted the guy, walked straight up and said, "What exactly are you teaching him?" He just smiled, said, "I'm not doing anything you didn't allow." Then he whistled 3 quick notes. My dog turned, immediately trotted to his side. There were no signs of abuse, no wounds, no trauma, just a wrong familiarity. "He's smart," the man said. "Smarter than most people. Dogs remember better than we do." I took the leash, yanked it hard, and walked off without saying another word. The man didn't follow. But that night, my dog wouldn't sleep in the same room. Just stood by the door, waiting. The next day, I tried to reset everything. No walks, no app, just me and him. I took time off work, cooked, sat with him, called his name often. He started relaxing again slowly. I even tried reteaching him his name, calling it over and over with treats. But he just stared confused, like I was the one getting it wrong. Enough that I thought maybe it was over. That afternoon, I was in the shower 10 minutes tops when I got a notification on my phone. Walker has returned your dog, 4:42 p.m. I hadn't even noticed him missing. I ran to the living room. The leash was gone from the hook. I opened the door. The dog sitting there looked like mine. Same eyes, same tail, but this one had a scar above its paw. And when I reached down, he flinched, not like he was scared. Like he expected me to pull away. A scar I'd never seen before. I called his name. No reaction. Then I tried the name I never taught him. Harley. Still nothing. Out of desperation, I whistled 3 notes just like the walker had. He turned, tail wagging, stepped forward without hesitation. I emailed Dogshare. No reply. Tried calling, dead number. I searched online and found a thread on an old forum. One post stood out. Someone describing the same alert returned at 4:42 p.m. And a photo of a different dog. Also tan. Also a scar above the paw. I checked the app, it was gone from the store. My dog, or the dog now in my home, still comes when I call. Still eats the same food. But sometimes he goes straight to the lower cabinet beside the fridge and scratches it. I've never kept treats there. Never taught him to do that. But sometimes I catch him watching the door, waiting, and once late at night he barked in his sleep. 1 bark, then 2, then a pause, then 2 more. I counted without meaning to. It wasn't random, it was a pattern. 1 long, 2 short. I stopped trusting apps with living things. I walk him myself now no matter what. And I check him. Every day. For new marks or tricks I didn't teach. Because I thought I was doing what's best. But maybe guilt makes you sign away more than time. Maybe it opens the door for someone else to decide what best really means. Because if someone else can train your dog without you noticing, they can change what he comes back as. The shelter warned me not to adopt her. Not because she was aggressive or sick, but because 3 people had brought her back, all saying the same thing. She watches the door. All night. I was looking for a dog, not just any dog, but something small, calm, maybe a little older. I didn't want a puppy, just company. I'd just gotten through a pretty bad situation, stayed with a friend after I left a long-term relationship. When I finally moved into a little back house behind someone's property, it felt too quiet. The shelter was only 10 minutes away. They showed me all the usual options, but one crate was covered in a towel. When I asked, the staff exchanged glances. Then one of them sighed and pulled it off. She was sitting perfectly still, white with dark patches, ears pricked. The second our eyes met, her tail thumped once. Then nothing. "You sure?" the staff asked. "She's been returned a few times. Doesn't do anything wrong, just creeps people out." They never told me where they found her. Just said she'd been sitting on someone's porch for days, waiting. On our second day home, I was unpacking boxes in a dark room and tripped. She ran to me, nudged my hand like she wanted me to pet her. I'd never felt that with a rescue before. I took her home anyway. She didn't bark, didn't whine, ate calmly, slept near the couch, didn't react to cars or people. But every single night, right after I turned off the lights, she'd walk to the front door and sit. Silent, staring at it like she was waiting. I thought maybe she had been trained to guard, or had separation anxiety, but she never made a sound, just watched. One night I tried calling her over. She looked back at me, then turned around and kept staring. There were moments I caught myself watching the door the way she did, unblinking, waiting, as if I needed her permission to relax. I started talking to her, whispering small things in the dark like she'd answer. I told myself it was comfort, but I think I needed her to believe I wasn't afraid. During the day, she slept deep. So deep I sometimes had to nudge her just to check she was breathing. But at night, she was something else. Alert. Tense. Like night was when her real job began. She also refused to go past the front gate. Every walk ended the same way. She'd stop, stare down the road, then pull me back toward the house. After about a week, it started to bother me. So I set up a baby cam facing the door. Nothing happened for the first few nights. Just her sitting still, eyes locked on the frame. There was one time I forgot to turn off the camera. 7 hours of footage. And in all that time, she never moved. Not a blink. Not even one pixel. But on the 6th night at exactly 2:42 a.m., I caught something. A flicker. Like motion. The dog stood. Took one step forward. Then froze. The clip glitched. When I checked the frame by frame, I saw the door shift slightly, as if someone was peeking through. Then the timestamp rolled back 2 seconds, like someone hit rewind. When it resumed, she was back in place, tail stiff, eyes wide. I checked the timestamp again. The file had skipped back 2 seconds. I almost deleted the clip. Told myself maybe my mind was playing tricks, lack of sleep, stress from the split, whatever. But she's never been wrong. The next day, I left for groceries. When I got back, there was a folded triangle of paper inside the door. I hadn't locked it all the way. I told myself maybe it blew in from the porch, but it was perfectly folded. Dead center. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept the lights off, pretended to doze. At 2:40, she walked to the door again. At 2:42, she growled. It was the first sound she'd ever made. Low, constant, vibrating through the floor. Then 3 slow knocks. She lunged at the door, but not barking, just pressing herself against it, like she was trying to stop something from coming through. I grabbed my phone and opened the camera app, but the screen froze. When it came back, the hallway light outside was on, but the sensor only activates from inside. That night, I didn't sleep. Again. The next day, I checked the outdoor cam. It had recorded nothing, not a frame. I checked logs. At 2:42 a.m., the system went offline for 37 seconds, then came back with no errors. That evening, I noticed something new, claw marks. On the outside of the front door. Long, curved, deep enough to splinter. That night, she stood guard again. At 2:42, she growled again, this time louder. Hackles raised. I heard scraping metal against wood. The doorknob turned slightly. I held my breath, but it didn't open. The next morning, I found a second triangle of paper sitting by the threshold, identical to the first. When I searched that folded triangle online, I found one mention someone called it a marker. Apparently there was a case years ago of a dog that sat guard against something terrible outside. One forum post said, "If the marker appears twice, it means you've already been chosen." She still guards the door every night. Still doesn't bark. Still doesn't play. I tried bringing her into the bedroom once. She stood at the door all night instead. I've started sleeping on the couch beside her. I didn't feel safe unless I could see her face. I don't think I even trusted myself at night anymore. Some nights I wonder if she's the reason this place was even vacant to begin with. What if I'm guarding her from it? Or guarding her because of it? Or worse, what if she's not guarding me from it, but guarding it from me? Last night I dreamed I was the one knocking. She was still standing there, still staring, But this time, she didn't stop me. If a shelter dog stares at the door, maybe ask why. Maybe ask who she's waiting for, or what she's keeping out. I don't wonder anymore. I just let her do her job.